Hi, my name is Kelvin Newman and welcome to the Brighton SEO podcast, where we share talks from one of the world's most popular search marketing conferences. The event started out as a few people meeting in an upstairs room of a pub and is now attended by over 3,000 people from all over the world. This episode is a recording of one of the speakers at a recent event.
Hi everyone. So today you went through you saw some amazing talks and you sort of went through the journey of creating and promoting content, from idea generation, content creation, whether it's bigger budget or smaller budget, to the distributing the content. The thing is that there are also results that sometimes they're not that nice or fun, but we want the best results ever. And many of us in this room will be measured on how many links we get. And sometimes when you get your content out there, you just end up with lovely brand mentions. And there's nothing against that. The brand mentions are great, but they're not links. So the question is, why are people, journalists and publication owners, not linking back to their content? And we went out there and asked a few people, journalists, what's the reason for that? What they said is basically, well, there's no reason to link. You can't just come out there, share your content and go, oh, please also link a homepage, because why would they send their readers away from their articles and sites? So here are our quick tips. The first one, and I think the most important one, is relationships. And I know you've heard that a million times today, but it is about relationships. And creating relationships is quite as simple as picking up a phone and calling the journalists, following them on Twitter, reading their stories, and attending events. That can be quite complicated if most of the events will be in London. But at least once a year, just getting out there and making sure that journalists just see your name absolutely everywhere. Not stalking, but just everywhere. And then maintaining the relationship is another thing where, I've listed all these that you can say congratulations to everything, but the main one is the last one, which is sending only relevant content, because you may get great relationship, the journalist loves your stories and content, they cover that, they link back to your content site, but then you start saying, oh yeah, well, this one's great, so we just carry on sending things to them. And that can end up in abusing the relationship and the contact, which you don't want to do, because then you get that lovely taking off your mailing list, quite a nightmare. So you then have to go back to creating the whole thing again. So, the tactics. We've got the relationship sorted. Now it's the why would the journalist link back to us. Makes sense with having a news of your content. The thing is that it's not just about the journalist that you're targeting. It's the editor needs to like the story, the publisher needs to like the story, and mainly the readers need to like the story. And obviously it's the journalist's decision if the readers will see the story. So what you can do is go a step bit forward and actually find out everything about their readers. As simple as looking at media kits, which are online. Every single publication got them. You just search for it and you've got it. So what then you can do is actually go to the journalist and say, right, so you've got readers which are females aged 18 to 34, they live here, they work there, they earn this much. This is why the story is relevant to you. So you're doing that job, you're actually creating the argument why they should publish the story, not just because I read your article and it's quite similar to what we've got, it's because your readers will like it. Then the thing is, they need to share it and comment on their site. So lots of journalists are measured on how many shares their content, the articles get, and how many comments they get. The thing is, don't read Daily Mail comments. But if you see that your story is in Daily Mail, it's got 350 comments, don't read them, it's good. Because sometimes people are just very mean. And the main reason to give them the reason to link back. You can create a dedicated landing page where basically you give them something extra. So you go to the journalist and you give them a story, but you only include relevant data to the, so not every single, you should there are a group of journalists and every one of them is writing for different publications, and the Guardian won't be interested in the same angle as the Daily Mail or the Express or or this Cosmopolitan. So you should take different angles and different data to the journalists, whether it's gender, age, location. Then what you do is include everything else on your landing page. So the journalists, you're telling them, right, this is the story, this is the angle you should be interested in. I think this is exactly it. And then if your readers want to find out more about everything else, they'll go here. And now the journalist got a reason to send the readers away because they actually want them to find out more about what you've done. So you can create a report, for example, which is as simple as just gather all the information you found out in a nice way, whether it's infographic or nice visuals, lots of text around it. Use it for your internal links. It's very nice sort of report style. And then the journalist can go there and choose what angle they would like to cover. In this case, they focus on women. But then those people will write about women in business and include link in their article, because if anyone wants to find about men in business or young people, students, anyone. You can also include raw data on your site. So again, write everything about what you've done with your, what is research, of course, with the data, and just simple link to raw data. I know that's not that reader-friendly, you may think, but if the journalist has the reason to go there and check the data, ensure that what you're saying is right, they will be sending their readers there as well, just to make sure that the readers can find out that everything that you said is backed up. You can also do something fun. So our client actually created a shed, space shed. They wanted to call it Star Wars shed, but you don't want Disney lawyers knocking on your door. So we stopped them and said, let's do a space shed. But you've got, it's great. It was product page where you couldn't buy the shed. It was actually built. It's real and it's being given to charity. But you got free Milky Way delivery and just little teeny tiny funny things like that actually journalists love. The BBC, Metro, and what they do when they write about it, they go, well, this is the video, this is exactly what we've got, and if you have to go and see this product page on the site. You can also do guides. Now, this is a very optimistic one. Breakup and divorce. But, sometimes you can't really force the fun in there. It shouldn't be funny. It's a serious thing. But you can do the thing that you pitch it as a slightly light-hearted story. So you've got practical steps to take after a breakup. What Metro then do is if you want to read the boring stuff and important stuff, you go right on the site. And if you don't have the resource or budget or people to do, huge dedicated landing page, you can simply do dedicated blog posts because you're still giving something extra. If you don't have the data, because your campaign is based on something else or content, you simply can do something like experts' advice on your blog post, tips that readers can use, and real-life story. People love real-life stories because it's something they might be thinking of getting into and someone else has done it, or they've got a problem they're dealing with, someone else was dealing with this. So just include that within your blog post. And additional assets. So you've got your relationship sorted, you've got something extra, and what you can do also is make the journalist really, really like you. And for example, as an additional asset, you offer them photography. Journalists hate getting images, and they hate seeking them. So I'm not saying you have to go out there and take 20,000 pictures for your related to your content, but you can go to Pixabay and Pexel and Unsplash and source these images and then offer them to the journalists because you've done their job. So they're really going to like you because you are helping them, you're saving their time. And if you're helping them, they will help you. Because at the end of the day, whether they include the link in the coverage or not is their decision. And then just mainly ask, if you've done everything and they still didn't do that, just go out and go, could you include a link because you've got a reason, there's a dedicated landing page, there's more information. And you would be surprised how many journalists actually come back to you and apologize for not doing that straight away because they do have the reason to include a link. Then some type of content gets much more links than other ones. So the good ones, there's not easy ones, but the nice to work on ones, are things that journalists have to visit, try it out, and write about their results. Because if the journalist goes there, tries that, writes about that, well, it makes sense for them to include a link in the coverage because they want their readers to go there, try it, and have their own experience. It can be as simple as a quiz. They need to do something, they need to get the results. When they write about that, why would they not send their readers there? Other things that when you're given an advice that is related to your service, again, if you're doing something, for example, writing a business plan, it makes sense that the journalist will send their readers to the page where people can write a business plan, have a look what business plan looks like. So you are sending them to a relevant, journalists are sending them to a relevant source. And then a lovely one is products. If it's anything related to your products, it completely makes sense for people to include all the links into the product pages. You notice all of these examples, none of them was homepage, because the journalists were sending their readers to a relevant site related to your content or products. Then there are some that are teeny tiny bit more difficult. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing them, and I love doing them, but they might need a teeny tiny bit more work. For example, video, and that's just because not every single publication is video friendly. Some of them can't even use GIFs just yet. And I'm not talking about the big ones, Metro and Independent and the Telegraph, they're all fine. But if you got a niche client or niche product or services, and your journals that you're targeting are writing for niche papers, their site might not be that friendly. So what you need to do is just make sure you've got several assets, whether it's static images or more content for them, just something to say, I know that video might not be working for you, so here's something else. And then public data. I love public data. I think it's an amazing thing. The one issue is that it's not yours. So the thing is that you always have to make sure that it's somehow related to your content. Of course, you choose the right topic and you make sure the campaign you're talking about is relevant with the public data. But still a tiny bit more, maybe running a quick Google consumer survey, it costs £100. And you can just either argue with the data or support the public data. Just making sure, because what can happen is that the journalists take this, you send them lovely press release using public data, and they'll take it as a story idea, and they will never mention you or your client because they'll say it's from Office of National Statistics, and they are right. So what you want to do is make sure that if you're using public data, either do something else next to it, small research, or make it pretty. So a visual infographic, something that you have created. So when they publish that, they have to say you have used your public data, but it's your content. Visual and infographic. And then you've got time-sensitive content. Christmas campaigns, absolutely love it, but no one's going to talk about your Christmas campaign in March. So if you want loads of links coming in for some time, you should really make sure that your campaign is not that time-sensitive. You've got a week, maybe a month, just send it, that's fine, and everyone should be doing the related content to Easter and Christmas and all that. But just make sure that you've got something else running as well, because that will end, it'll die off, sadly. And tailoring your content to a publication style. I absolutely love this. So it's a bit of stalking, but you just need to know exactly how journalists write their articles, because it is the journalist style, but really is the publication style. Daily Mail articles are exactly the same one by even different journalists wrote it because it's their style. So there's a story that was covered in a few nationals, and all of them wrote a headline slightly different way. So you go to the email, ridiculously long title, and bullet points. And bullet points. So what you want is when you're sending an email out with your content, write the bullet points. Just sum up your content, write bullet points. They might copy and paste it and publish that. It's not because they're lazy, it's because you're saving their time. You, again, are doing that extra thing for them and helping them to easily sell or see the content, how it would look like on their site. They've got a son, fun. So funny titles. So again, just play with the words and help them to see how it would look like if they cover that. The Express, just capital, so can you see this? And then you've got Daily Mirror, which is simply subtitle, as simple as that. And then you've got, for example, Metro, which is very simple, straightforward, the same with Telegraph. So you just want to apply this to so you shouldn't be sending one and the same press release to every single journalist. It should be slightly, A, of course, it should be personalized email, and B, of course, it should be slightly different to match their style. It can be time consuming, but it's worth it. And also you can do one more thing, and that is to slightly your subject line. Of course, you can include bullet points in your subject line in the email, but if they see that they know you, they got email from you, suddenly they can see that it's already in their style and go, oh, that actually could look good on our site. Open the email, see exactly how the article would look because it's in their style. Having the pictures there, reason to link back, you're saving so much time, and they will love that because you're doing something for them. So it'll not only get the content out there, but your email gets noticed much easier. And track everything. Again, not stalking, but tracking everything when they would like to send the content. How? Because if you track everything, you look at your email, sometimes you see exactly what makes the journalist trigger and include link in their content, whether it's, you really piss them off if you send things on Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just don't send things on Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning because they told you so. Or call on a Friday, or tweet them, or whatever they prefer. Follow that, and they actually, if you then want to ask, why are you not linking back? Because you're following all this, you doing what they prefer, you're giving them great content. They might say, oh, it's just because we link only to social media. Right, okay, let's do that. I mean, it's not linked to the home your site, but you understand what the journalist is, what their policy is, and and then work with them how to make it from the social media link to actual link to your site. And make sure that you're getting involved from the beginning, because whether your role is digital PR person, online PR, outreach, whether your is content promotion, you are distributing your content. You are there at the end of the line, really, getting the content out there. So if you are talking to journalists and publications and owners and influencers, and you are securing the coverage and links, why is someone else the decision maker when it comes to themes and topics of your campaign? I'm not saying that you should come to the office and shout at everyone and it's now your job to do everything when it comes to creating campaigns, but you should be involved heavily from the beginning and making sure that you are one of the main people there, because you know exactly what's going to make the journalists tick and why they're going to cover your content, because you know how to tailor it that way. It's not changing the whole topic or theme of someone came up with, but tailoring to the way that you know is going to happen. If you don't do that, then you may end up with difficult content to distribute, and that's quite pain in the ass. And you know that someone else has done that recently. It's bad timing on is that so what content, and it's just awful and very frustrating when you've got something that you didn't like from the beginning, it's shit, and you have to go out there and get links. Sorry. No offense. And so the person responsible for links is you. So here's something nice. It's work in progress, but it's a full list of publications that include link within the article. So don't worry about this little silly link. I'm going to share it on a SlideShare, and I'm going to tweet the link to Slide so she can go there and copy that and take it and download it or save it anywhere and just carry on tracking this and making sure that you know what you need to do for Telegraph, what you need to do for the Guardian, what you need to do here, what you need to do there, and and make friends with them. Thank you.
This was originally recorded at a Brighton SEO conference. If you want to listen to more episodes or find out about the conference itself, you can do at brightonSEO.com.